This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for August 22nd, 11:30 a.m. We have a new tropical depression in the far east Atlantic. Here's the HurTrack program showing you where the position will be when this becomes Tropical Storm Danielle, which will be later on this evening. And then let's go ahead and put this into motion, and you'll see that this becomes a hurricane on Tuesday in the morning hours. And let's see, that would be right in this position right here where it becomes a hurricane, about 1,116 miles east of San Juan, or 862 miles northeast of Guadalupe in the northern Leeward Islands. This will become a hurricane and then continue moving off to the west-northwest in the general direction of Bermuda. And at the end of the forecast period, going out to the morning on Friday, we're going to see a 95-mile-an-hour hurricane here heading in the general direction of Bermuda. I'll get to more details on the reason for the strength of this system in the next few frames here. But back in history, we've had a few systems that have been in this position right around this time of the year. One of them comes to mind, which is Umberto. Back in 1995, on this date, August 22nd, Umberto was very similar to this location. Moved off to the west and then eventually northwest and went well east of Bermuda and out to sea. That is a possibility with this system, even though the models are trending to take this a little bit closer to Bermuda, if not very near Bermuda in the long run, which is why we'll have to watch this very closely. It is not etched in stone that this is definitely heading out to sea. So let's go ahead and take a look at some images here. First of all, let's take a look at our current graphical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. Of course, you can see Tropical Depression number 6. And here's an interesting wave here coming off the coast of Africa. And there's an area of low pressure right on the coast that's about to come off. And this is one that may take a more southerly track down the road. And we'll have to watch this closely for the impacts of the United States. And again, TD number 6, again, the forecast calls for this heading generally northwest towards Bermuda. And, of course, that is subject to change over the coming days. Here is the close-up from the Hurricane City tracking map showing our system approaching Category 2 status on Friday in the morning hours. And again, they backed off on that a little bit on the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center, but flirting with Category 2 status here as it heads in the general direction of Bermuda. Latest model runs, again, GFDL is the northern outlier here, and the LBAR and the no-gaps are further south, which is nothing unusual, but what you look for is a tight, packed group of models, and that's what we have here. So there's pretty good consensus that this is going to move west-northwest and avoid the northern Leeward Islands. Now, the Euro model, which is not graphically shown here, takes this generally towards Bermuda and then hangs kind of a left-hand turn here. So this is kind of an interesting development. It showed this yesterday, and then in a couple of runs after that, it showed it again moving back out to sea without hitting Bermuda. And then in the latest couple of runs, again, the European model is showing a bend back towards the west later in the period. So there's a lot of question as to whether the trough is going to kick this out into the open Atlantic or the high pressure is going to build back in and send it toward the States. All right, here's another look at what's going on in the East Atlantic. Again, we have TD number 6 right here, which will become Danielle later on today. And then we have this pretty good-looking tropical wave coming right off the coast of Africa. And that's going to move west, and that could develop as well. We should expect an invest on that at any time. Here's a water vapor loop, and what you'll notice that's interesting up in, of course, it's a little bit off your image here, but right up in here, there is a upper level low that's moving in tandem with TD number 6, which is right here. And here is our system out here, and then, of course, we have another tropical wave right here in Africa that's moving west, and that's another one we'll have to watch going into the middle of next week. That'll also be coming off the coast of Africa, so there's a lot to keep an eye on in the East Atlantic out here as far as the future is concerned. All right, here's a floater loop of our system out here, Tropical Depression number 6. Notice on the last frame, here's our center of circulation right here. It's not where the blob is right here. It's right here. And it's kind of breaking off a little bit to the northwest from the main blob of convection. So this is not a real well-organized system, but it does have a definite rotation here, and there's definitely a depression there. But once this convection wraps around this system, then we'll have ourselves a tropical storm. That can happen later on tonight or tomorrow, but it is a little bit of a sheared environment because we have a high pressure aloft, and that's causing winds out of the northeast, a little bit of northeasterly wind shear over the system right now. But again, as that moves further west underneath the high pressure ridge, it should develop rather nicely here and become a hurricane over the next several days. All right, here's the UK Met model. Now, this model is one of the better models at these long-range hurricane systems that come off the coast of Africa. And you can see this system generally west-northwest. What's interesting to note on this, if we stop it in the last frame here, is that it continues to have a 10-20 millibar high pressure right up in here. And that will continue to send this off to the west-northwest. And doesn't seem to indicate much of a weakness here. So will this split come, further south, maybe south of Bermuda? That's what the UK Met is indicating at this time. So we'll have to watch this very closely. UK Met's a very good model. And again, there's been modifications to the UK Met during the off season, such as resolutions and whatnot. So they've done some updates to this model. So we'll see if that pans out. All right, here's TropicalAtlantics.com model intensity forecast. All the models shown here. Now, the most intense model here is the GFNI, which is the GFNI is the Navy GFDL version that's interpolated, and that means additional data is put into this, and it has it up to Category 3 hurricane up here in about 5 days. But that is not likely. Most of the models are keeping this right around Category 1. In fact, the ship model here is indicating this is going to remain static as a Category 1 hurricane, not get much stronger than that, probably due to upper level wind shear. But what's interesting is the ship model has also been adjusted in the off season for improvements and for incorporating dry air and that sort of thing. And there's been a lot of work on the intensity, rapid intensification forecast of the ship model. But the ship model continuing right here in the middle of the pack here at 77 knots in 5 days. So we'll see what happens with that. Now the late cycle models rather, including the GFDL and the GFDN and such, are showing Category 2, flirting with Category 3 up here. So we'll have to see what happens in about 5 days from now. Again, the GFDT, 107 miles an hour. The GFDN, 102 knots, 115 miles an hour. And the, if I can mouse over this here, we're talking GFDL, we're right around 110 miles an hour at about 5 days out. So strong Category 2. Now, what is the best performing model so far? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And we have the Chris's Tropical Atlantic map up here. And the AP, the Aviation Ensemble model, number 20 out here, is the best performing model. And you can see that has it right going over Bermuda and then hangs a left-hand turn here. So this is interesting developments right near Bermuda and then a left-hand turn. So this is indicating we might have to watch the East Coast a little bit closely on this. It's not etched in stone. This is heading out to sea. So the AP20 model is the best performer right now by only about 40 miles off at 48 hours. That's not really a whole lot of time to consider how well a model is performing. But so far for a 2-day period, it's the best performing model. We'll watch this closely. All right, well, that's about it for now. We'll be back with another. Oh, well, one other thing I wanted to show. I'm sorry, I should have showed you the animation here so we can show you what's going on in the Atlantic. And let's go ahead and pull up the water vapor loop of the Atlantic Basin. And you can see we have a large upper level low to the northwest of our system out here. Here it is, this big tandem upper level low moving in tandem with our system. Now, the National Hurricane Center is indicating that this is going to drift a little bit to the southwest and park itself right here, which is going to break down the ridge a little bit and allow number 6, which will become Danielle, to move more to the northwest. But what they're also thinking is that by this time a new ridge of high pressure might build in over here, and that's what the European model is showing, and that would tend to bend this back toward the west again. So we need to watch this closely. When it gets to this crossroads in here is where things are going to change. It's going to slow down its forward speed, and we could see this thing head toward the United States. Long time to watch this. We'll keep track of it at hurricanecity.com. You can too, and please visit back regularly. The site updates all day long with the latest track forecast from the National Hurricane Center. That's it for now. We'll be back with another update tomorrow on the situation. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.